everyone, and welcome back to the Football Chuggu Podcast. My name is Thomas Durning, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Pearse McLaughlin. Hello, Pearse.
Hello, how you doing?
Doing well. On today's podcast, we'll be discussing last weekend's English Premier League results and Scottish Premier League results. And Pearse will be also discussing all the latest Asian football news. So we'll dive into last weekend's English Premier League results. So on Saturday, the 2nd of March, the results were Everton 1, West Ham United 3, Fulham 3, Brighton 0, Newcastle 3, Wolves 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Liverpool 1, Tottenham 3, Crystal Palace 1, Brentford 2, Chelsea 2, Luton Town 2, Aston Villa 3. And then on Sunday, the 3rd of March, we have two matches, which were Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2, Man City 3, Man United 1. And then yesterday, which was Monday, the 4th of March, we had one match, which finished Sheffield United 0, Arsenal 6. So, Pearse, I want to ask you, as always, which match stood out to you the most from last weekend's matches?
I think it's got to be the match yesterday. Sheffield United 0, Arsenal 6. I just can't explain how prolific they've been this season, Arsenal, especially in recent weeks. Like, they beat West Ham 6-0. They back up with a 5-0 against Burnley. They lose to Porto in the Champions League, but in the return to league action, they beat Newcastle 4-1 convincingly. And now they go.
Since they've come back from Dubai,
Oh, yeah, it's been
I think,
ridiculous. And this is without. We were saying during the January transfer window, they need a striker. Quite evidently, they don't.
I know, yeah.
You look at some of the best sides in, well, obviously, European football. You look at Spain back in 2012, never the recognised striker. Pep's Barcelona never really had a striker as such. Did like Messi as like a false nine, at times. But I'm not comparing Arsenal to that caliber of side. But I'm just saying, as a team, they're doing pretty well, getting goals all over the park. They're really solid at the back, barely conceding any goals. Scoring a lot of set piece goals, so there's a lot of different variety in their play. And I'm just really impressed by how prolific they've been and how consistent they've been. And for me, it's very much a carbon copy of last season's start to the Premier League campaign. Whereas this point of the season, last season, this is when they kind of tailed off a little bit and they ran out of steam. But I think now they look more solid at the back, and they seem like a different animal, as if they're in here for the long haul. And I do think they're in the title race, and it will go down right to the wire. And for me, it's really exciting for the Premier League. And also got to touch on the Manchester derby. I really think it was virtually men against boys at times. Manchester United, I think, took a short lead. What a goal it was by Marcus Rashford. I don't think he had a better strike following the interview he did midweek. I don't know if you've seen it, where he was basically criticising people for calling him out and his attitudes off the field and stuff like that, which the only reason people are criticising him is because how lofty his season was last season compared to this season. And Rashford, let's be honest, is a confidence player. If he's in the right frame of mind, he's in the top three, top four wingers in the Premier League, in terms of goals and assists and just all round play. But when he's not in the right frame of mind, you can see that he doesn't really show the effort. He doesn't really get in any crosses. He's not tracking back. So people know what he can achieve. It's just the fact is doing it on a more consistent basis. And that's why for me he's not world class, but he's a very good player. And then from then on, it was just all Man City. And I don't know how long Eric Ten Hag can go on like this in terms of the style of play, because it's so pragmatic. Their best hope against Manchester City was to sit back, soak up the pressure, and just counter. And I remember not too long ago, Tom, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was getting slated for such tactics. But yeah, if you're Dutch and you're called Eric Ten Hag, you're a revolutionary.
Yep.
So I think a lot of Manchester United fans should be a bit worried, because if that's the standard of play they're going to be playing against the top sides, then it's not going to be a very difficult season for them, and I don't think they will qualify for the Champions League, potentially not even Europa League, because they're very inconsistent this season. You think they've turned a corner, and then they put in a performance like that, and especially against a top six and title challenger, Manchester City, your City rivals, you expect a lot better. And I don't know if you've seen the miss from Erling Haaland. I still can't get over how he's missed it.
Oh, I couldn't
No,
believe it. I couldn't believe it.
it's, for
It was, it was
somebody his
miss of the
best,
season.
you expect that to be a goal.
Oh yeah, I mean, you put your money on that, him scoring that goal. I mean, it was miss of the season, in my opinion.
Aye. And I think the last one I'm going to touch on is going to be the Nottingham Forest 0, Liverpool 1. I think there's a lot of controversy surrounding the game itself in terms of the decision. And I think it was a high foot from Kanati, before the corner was it was taken, and then obviously 96th, 97th minute, Darwin Núñez pops up a winner. And for me, it just shows you the quality and the perseverance that this Liverpool side have. They never say die attitude. And for me, this is instilled from the manager. And you look at this, we touched on it last week, and when they won the Carabao Cup final, their squad is depleted with injuries, key players across the whole team. You'd probably say about five or six starters guaranteed are out of the side, but they always seem to find a way. And this just shows you that that's kind of the result of champions at the end of the day. Um, and I feel as if this will be a very successful season for Jurgen Klopp, because it will be his last, obviously. And I think they'll just fight for every game, every blade of grass, and yeah, for me it's a three-horse race, and all three sides had great results at the weekend.
Yeah. Again, the priority matches were basically from the weekend were the Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. I think that they were the most significant results, all for different reasons. Off to Liverpool, as you just said, scoring in the last minute. Very, very, very controversial. The way they won that match, they shouldn't have been given the ball back. Nottingham Forest should have had the ball. Um, and the referee decided to give it back to Liverpool, and they went up the pitch and scored in the last minute of the game. So that was very controversial. And yeah, another weekend of very dodgy refereeing decisions. And I don't know if you saw at the end with the Nottingham Forest. I mean, the coaching staff were on the pitch, even the owner was on the pitch, complaining to the referee. It was quite mad. There was a few red cards getting handed out at the end of that match from Nottingham Forest, and I'm not surprised because it was a very, very, bad call. And they're in a relegation battle as well, so uh, you know, pretty bad for them. Yes, and then obviously moving on to the Man City Man United game, as you said, it was totally dominated by Man City from minute one to minute 90. Apart from Man United go 1-0 up when Marcus Rashford scored, an unbelievable goal. It was so unexpected. They hit it cleanly as you can, and it just rifled into the top corner. But you just always knew Man City were kind of going to get back into it. You were touching on there about Man United style of play under Eric Ten Hag, and I do agree with you. I don't understand. I don't understand the way they kind of set up. I get that you think Man City the better team, right? Everybody knows that. I get that, but there was no real determination to kind of go and try and win the game. At least they just kind of sat in and soaked up the pressure as much as they could, and you just always knew Man City were going to win it in the end. So as you said there about Eric Ten Hag, you're struggling to see where he's going with this Man United team. We've touched on it. Obviously, they've got the new owners, uh, who are the charge of the sporting decisions at Man United, Ineos, and they are keeping an eye on the progress that Man United make for Eric Ten Hag. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if they do decide to make a change at the end of the season and kind of go their own way, because I think this season, I mean, I feel for Eric Ten Hag a bit because he's had a lot of injuries. I mean, on Sunday they didn't have Hoyland, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Martinez, Malacia, Wan-Bissaka, Mason Mount. You know, that's 7 players I've just written from the top of my head. That's some key players that you're going to miss. But I just thought the tactics were very strange. And then obviously moving on to last night's match, which was Arsenal 6, Sheffield United 0. A complete and utter annihilation of Sheffield United. Arsenal just totally destroyed them from minute one. They were just in total control, and you were just touching on it about ever since I've come back from Dubai from this kind of little break they had, just been steamrolling teams in the league, and they're just in terms of right now. In terms of, you would say they would have to be favourites right now because of the form that they're in. They're scoring goals for fun. I mean, we were talking about the fact that they needed a striker, but they just seem to be getting goals from everywhere at the moment. And Sheffield United, I mean, it's again they've conceded 5+ goals, 5 or plus more goals at home. I mean, there's fans, Sheffield United fans, leaving after 20 minutes last night, which I kind of felt sorry for them because you don't want to see that because they're paying the money. But complete annihilation from Arsenal, um, and it's an exciting title race. We'll touch on it more as the weeks go on because obviously we really are starting to get into the run now. But I'll just ask you finally, Pearse, before we just move on, who do you think will win it at the moment?
A really tough one. I think three sides can all win it in their own right. Like you said, they're only separated by 2 points. Arsenal got a superior goal difference, um, which kind of shock you, but it doesn't shock you at the same time. Because when you've got a side with De Bruyne and Erling Haaland, you can't expect them to go and score the most goals. Um, but for me, it depends. It depends on Europe as well because Liverpool have got Europa League. You expect them to go on and win that. They'll go deep in that competition. Arsenal, their ties are on a knife edge, having lost the first leg. So if they get put out, then you probably make them slight favourites because it's another competition they're out of. But to go further on that competition, you expect Manchester City to go on and try retain their Champions League as well. For me, I don't know. I'm going to say Liverpool. I'm going to say Liverpool. I think that's a bit of a rogue shout. But I just think the manner in what they're winning games, I just feel as if they'll do it for Klopp. And like you say, they've got these players to come back from injury as well. So if they're winning matches with a lot of their academy players and fringe players, I just feel as if they've just got quality over the park. And I think they'll edge it just. But no, I think it will go down. It will go down to the last day of the season. I think. Potential a helicopter Sunday kind of moment down in the English Premier League. So I think it will be really exciting. But I'm going Liverpool just because of Klopp, never say die attitude, and the players have got to come back like Dominic Szoboszlai, Mohamed Salah, Diego Jota, Trent Alexander-Arnold. A lot of key players are missing, and obviously you've got Alisson as well in net. But I think Kelleher's a very good deputy. So no, I'm going to go Liverpool just.
Yeah, I'm going to go Man City, and I just think Man City because I just think that they always have this thing where it gets to kind of January time and they start picking up, and and they've got so many players in that team that know how to win. They've won everything basically. They've won the Champions League, they've won the Champions League countless times, and Pep Guardiola he just seems to know. He always seems to find a way in the end to get his team kind of rolling again, and you're seeing that at the moment. They are kind of starting to step up now, and really get the fin caps on. I think it'll be really close. I think this is going to go right to the wire this season between the three teams. I think Liverpool will drift a wee bit, to be honest, because I just kind of worry about Liverpool's strength and depth a wee bit. I know they've got players that are injured at the moment, but even if the players do come back, I just don't know if they've got enough to kind of, keep going match after match. They've got Europa League as well. And I just think they might just drop off a little bit. But I'm going to go Man City, and I think Arsenal will. It'll be close with Arsenal. Um, but I just think because of the experience that Man City have, and they've got the best striker in the world up front. I think that they'll just do it. But I'll probably change my mind in a few weeks' time because I think it's one of the title races this season that it's just going to go right down to the wire. And yeah, it's really exciting. So we'll move on now to the Scottish Premier League results. So we'll start off on Saturday, the 2nd of March. The results finished Dundee 2, Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 2, Ross County 0, Rangers 1, Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 1, Livingston 1, St Mirren 2, Aberdeen 1. And then on Sunday, the 3rd of March, we had one match, which was Hearts 2, Celtic 0. So it was quite a eventful weekend in the league in Scotland. But Pearse, I want to ask you, which match stands out to you the most?
Probably the probably the match of the weekend, and that was probably the one on Sunday. Hearts 2, Celtic 0. I think we'll touch on it in a bit more detail later on, but I think VAR's got to be the main talking point of not just the result. Obviously Celtic lose on the back of an opportunity to go top of the table outright, and they failed to do that. They got a penalty early on through Yang, which in my opinion I do think it is a penalty because Cochrane does catch his leg as he's running through and goal. It is soft, but for me, but literal, there's contact, and he just went down, and I think it's a penalty. In terms of Adam Ida, an absolute shocking penalty. Hit it down the middle, and he's just safe as a keeper of Xander Clark's caliber. Um, and then literally a few minutes later, you see Yang getting sent off for a straight red card for a high boot. In my opinion, it's not a red card, because there's no intent of kicking Alex Cochrane, and the fact is Alex Cochrane sprints over from 10, 15 yards to header it, and Yang doesn't even see him in his peripheral vision. And there's no malice in the challenge. I think Cochrane is intentionally jumping in to potentially try to get a player, the manager, the referee to make a decision in terms of getting there first and try to get the player sent off. And in my opinion, it's not a red card, and that was a game changer because I thought Hearts were playing a bit better. Well, Hearts were playing really well up with the 11 men, and then once we went to 10 men, they went a bit more pragmatic, which you'd expect it to be the opposite way around. When you see a team with a man down, you'd try sniff blood and take full advantage, but that never seemed to be the case. There was obviously gaps over the place. Celtic try to go forward and attack at will as they need to go and try win the match every game they play. And I thought the penalty for Hearts, for me, again, it's not a penalty. I don't understand why that was a penalty. He's not even looking at the ball and it's deflected onto his arm. So for me, that's not a penalty at all. Obviously, Josh Grant dispatches it, puts Hearts 1-0 up, and then Shanklin thinks he puts Hearts 2-0 up in the first half. Correctly ruled out by VAR, so that was a correct call there. Just marginally offside, and then Shanklin makes it 2 in the second half. But I do think for Celtic, I do think that Kyogo needs to be the starting striker. I think when he's not on the side, they're a different animal. And then obviously the game on Saturday, another shock result was Motherwell 2-1 against Rangers at Ibrox. I think the high press from Motherwell, again, caused Rangers some problems because Rangers have been blown teams away in the first half, and in recent weeks, Clermont's got them playing tremendous football. Um, and then they take an early lead through a mistake at the back from John Souttar. He just looks a bit too eager to try and header the ball, misjudges the flight of the ball, and then Vale squares it to Theo Bear, who's again is in pretty tremendous form for Motherwell. And this was a striker last season at St Johnstone who couldn't get inside and couldn't score. But I think, like you see, he's so strong, so powerful, and he's adding goals to his game. So I think he's a real asset for Motherwell, and he's filling the shoes of Van Veen very well. And then also Rangers get back into the game through a penalty, which I think is a pretty straightforward decision. It is a penalty, um, but I don't understand how the referees and VAR take 5-6 minutes to come to that conclusion, which I think is quite baffling. Because I think like any fan and any pundit or any ex-player can go and see that that's you dinked the ball over the Motherwell defender Stephen O'Donnell and you just clattered him. So for me, that is a penalty. Tavernier dispatches it, and then you expect maybe Rangers to go on, push on and get a winner. But again, it was an end-to-end game. There was 36, 37 shots in the game. There was 21 for Rangers, 15 for Motherwell. So it just shows you it was a very end-to-end game. I don't think you get that much against Rangers or Celtic, especially at home if you're the away side and you're not either side of the Old Firm, I mean. So it's credit to Stuart Kettlewell and Motherwell. And again, to get the winner through Vale. Superb delivery by Blair Spittle, who again is going from strength to strength this season. And with his contract in the summer, it'll be interesting to see where he goes because I think Motherwell will have a real fight on their hands to keep holding because he's a really, really good player. Tidy on the ball, great at set pieces, and he's got a goal from midfield, which is an asset any team would want to have. And then for me, the final game has got to be St Mirren 2, Aberdeen 1. Connor Barron, first minute, what an absolute strike that was. Um, Straight to the top corner from midfield. And he's another player that's up for contract in the summer. And I'm pretty sure he's rejected contract offer a few times this season. So he'll be one leaving the window. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. And then also St Mirren grab a goal in the 96th minute and in the 97th minute a sickener for Aberdeen. And their season just goes from worse to worse. And you expect, if you're 1-0 up, 90 plus minutes to hold on to the game, but you never expect to lose two goals in injury time. So that just shows you St Mirren's never say die attitude, but also Aberdeen should be doing a lot better defensively. And that's just been their problem this season. They've been leaking far too many goals. Yeah, so they three were the standout fixtures for me, Tom.
Yep. My standout one is the Rangers one, Motherwell 2, just based on the fact that Rangers, Motherwell have never. I think it was since the 1980s was the last time that Motherwell beat Rangers at Ibrox, so it was pretty significant like that as well for that. And also just because of the run that Rangers were on, I just didn't expect it. I just thought the Rangers would win pretty comfortably. So that was my standout match from the weekend. But obviously, you were touching on the two other matches, which again were significant. Obviously Rangers losing. You would think that okay, Celtic will go on and get the 3 points and go up a point up at the top of the table, but they didn't do that. A pretty controversial match that was. Celtic got given a penalty, given away. Very controversial handball, which at the end of the day, I don't think it is a handball. And Celtic they've confirmed that they've kind of wrote to the SFA to get an explanation as to why this was given as a handball, and obviously not happy at all with that decision. And then obviously Shannon got the second, and as you said, Hearts are going to have a big struggle to kind of keep him in the summer. I actually want to ask you about Shanklin, just a simple question. Do you think he starts for Scotland in the Euros?
Depends on the opposition. I think it's Germany, no. but I think for me, he's a bench player. He's a bench player. Regardless he's from this season, I think he could play in the side, but I think we all know his preferred lineup. If Adams and Dykes are fit, then that's his preferred front two, Steve Clark. But for me, it's been a phenomenal season. And I'm going to say something. If he plays for Rangers on Saturday, he scores a couple of goals. And I think that's Rangers' problem. They should have went out and got him in January. I think he's that
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like I'm beginning to think that he should start for Scotland at the Euros just in the first game against Germany. I just think that he's such a threat. You know, he can hold the ball up. You know, he's just clinical as well. That he's one of these strikers that he doesn't really get involved in the game as much. You know, he runs the channels as well. You know, he's a really hard worker. You know, I just think he's a kind of match striker that Steve Clark likes. You know, he's not been given a lot of opportunities. It's for Steve Clark. You know, because as you said, he's kind of gone with Dykes and Adams as the two main strikers. But I mean, it's so hard for Steve Clark to not to ignore him, and you know, he's definitely going to get in the squad for the Euros. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It'd be a travesty if he didn't even get picked. But I think he should start. I just think he deserves it. You know, he's going to be in so much. He's going to have so much confidence. You know, after the season he just had. And yeah, I think he's the like how do you say it? He's just the most proven goal scorer I think at the team. But he's just guaranteed goals. I think when you look at Dykes and Adams, and I just think with Shankland, you're just guaranteed goals with him. And if he gets chances, you know, he's one of these. I think he's just so clinical that he'll take them. So yeah, I think he will. I think for my opinion, he should start. But anyway, going back to the weekend, obviously Celtic overall they didn't win. They also got a red card as well, which again Celtic are asking why that was given the red card because they don't think so. It was a very controversial match, and it's the first time since 2018 that Rangers and Celtic have both lost in the same weekend, which is something very rare. We don't see it often. So the table stays as it is at the moment. I think Celtic will be most disappointed because they had the chance to go top of the table and they didn't take that chance. Um, so it is as it is at the moment. And then just finally, Aberdeen, obviously, heartbreak at the end for them because they conceded two goals in the last minute. I mean, it's something you couldn't write. You know, obviously they got the first goal, Connor Barron, in the first minute, which was a goal of the season contender. It was an absolute brilliant strike, right into the top corner. And then obviously Neil Warnock still hasn't won the league yet. You know, still trying to find that first win. What do you think of it so far? Briefly, Piers, what do you think about Neil Warnock and Aberdeen?
I just don't think it's worked so far. I think he doesn't know his best 11. And I think his tactics are wrong for the side that he's picking. And for me, for my opinion, I think it was still harsh to sack Barry Robson. I know he was in a terrible run, but he did brilliant in the Europa League, Europa Conference League, sorry. Um, and he has some decent results in there, but they went for a more experienced head. But as you've seen, like he's had 6 games in charge now. He's had 3 games at home, 3 games away, 3 draws and 3 defeats. And the only victory he's had was in the cup against Bonnie Rigorose, which again it was quite a tight affair. So for me, it's not worked out so far as a character. Brilliant to have him in the Scottish game, but in terms of the results, I don't think the Aberdeen fans will be very happy because it's just not worked out so far.
Yeah, you know, it's been real disappointing. You know, Neil Warnock's, you know, it's just not kind of gone from so far. You know, he said a lot of not controversial, but he said a lot of things about this Aberdeen team, about the fact that they don't have enough characters in the team, not enough feeders. And you know, he was supposed to come in and give them that bounce, that kind of new manager bounce, but it's just not happened at all. You know, they're just losing weekend after weekend, and they're close now to that relegation playoff. Um, you know, it's quite mad to think this because I mean, you compare Aberdeen to their European performance this season. They got a win against Frankfurt. They were unlucky to lose against Frankfurt away from home. And then you just compare them to the league form this season. It's just been dreadful. They've just been really, really poor. So it's worrying things for Aberdeen. But Neil Warnock's not had the impact I thought he would. And yeah, I think it's been disappointing so far. And Aberdeen really need to watch their backs now because, in my opinion, they're in a relegation fight. So yeah, so very kind of exciting weekend of Scottish football. So for the final part of the show, Pearse will now give his Asian football roundup.
Yeah, so obviously we had some J League One action. So this is the second week that's been back. So on Friday, the 1st of March, we had Kawasaki Frontale for the match of the round. Kawasaki Frontale 4, Jubilo Iwata 5, Yokohama F. Mars 0, Avispa Fukuoka 1. And then Saturday, the 2nd of March, we had Vissel Kobe 0, Kashiya Reysol 1, Lego Grampus 0, FC Machida Zelvia 1. So that's their first victory in the top flight since getting promoted from J2. Kyoto Sanga FC 1, Shonan Bellmare 2, Sagan Tusu 4, Hokkaido Constable Sapporo 0, Kashi Antlers 1, Ceres Osaka 1, FC Tokyo 1, Sanfrecce Hiroshima 1, Gambo Osaka 1, Alberts Niigata 0, and then Sunday the 3rd of March we had one game, and that was Ua Red Diamonds 1, Tokyo Verde 1. So in terms of league table, we're getting a more clearer picture. So we've got 6 sides all joint on 4 points, all sides unbeaten so far. And that's Cashew Antlers in top, and second we have Sanfrecce Hiroshima. Third we have Cashew Reysol, fourth Machida Zelvia, fifth Gambo Osaka, and sixth Avispa Fukuoka. And all sides are separated by just 2 goals. So at the bottom of the table, we have one side that's failed to pick up any points in the opening 2 matches, and that's Nagoya Grampus. So played 2 matches, 0 points, and they've got a -4 goal difference. So safe to say they've had not the greatest starts to the season for a side that was in the top 6 last year. And then in 19th position we have Hokkaido Consul Sapporo, 18th we have Ua Red Diamonds, 17th Kyoto Sanga FC, and then 16th we have Tokyo Verde, all on 1 point. And again, all separated by 3 goals. So it's shaping up to be an exciting J League season already after only 2 weeks in. So we had also the opening weekend of K League 1. So we had Friday, the 1st of March, we had Ulsan HDFC. So the reigning champions beat the side that finished second last year, and that was Pohang Steelers, 1 by a goal to 0. Jumbut Hyundai Motors drew 1-1 with Daejeon Hana Citizen. And then Saturday, 2nd of March, we had Gwangju FC 2, SU Seoul 0. And I was at that match, got a match report on the website, and that was obviously Jesse Linger's first game in Korea. We also Gangwon FC 1, Jeju United 1, Incheon United 0, Suwon FC 1. And then Sunday, the 3rd of March, we had Daegu FC 0, Gimcheon Sangmu 1. So it's leaving the table looking like this. At the top of the table, we have Gwangju FC on 3 points, and in second we have Gimcheon Sangmu in second, and then Suwon FC in third, and Ulsan HD FC in fourth, all on 3 points, separated by 1 solitary goal. And at the bottom of the table, we have SG Seoul in 12th, 11th Pohang Steelers, 10th Incheon United, and 9th we have Daegu FC, all on 0 points. An exciting first weekend to the Korean League season, and it's brilliant to have it back. So Gambo Osaka have announced a strategic partnership with Ajax to advance talent identification and development initiatives in Japan. This exclusive collaboration is scheduled to extend over an initial 3-year period. For Ajax, the partnership represents a significant opportunity to strengthen its global brand and identify and nurture young talents in the Japanese football landscape. Gambo Osaka in turn gains Ajax's renowned training methodologies
Methodology.
for its youth development program, while establishing connections within the global football community. Gamba Osaka, one of the most prestigious clubs of the J League, has consistently showcased its prowess in Japanese football. This partnership opens new avenues for Gamba Osaka in the European football arena. Marin Booker, formerly of Queen's Park, we were employed by them. Director of Football at Ajax expressed, this partnership symbolises our determination to expand Ajax's international football network and scout top talent globally. We're excited to welcome Gamba Osaka into our network, a highly respected club in Japan, for its commitment to excellence in collaboration with Gamba Osaka. Our shared objectives is to foster a mutually beneficial scenario that transcends the traditional boundaries of talent development. Tadashi Ono, president of Gamba Osaka, added, this partnership focuses on both the football domain, covering the first team and the academy, and the business facet. Beginning with exchanging knowledge and expertise, it also involves sharing strategic data and insights on the Japanese and European markets, including football market dynamics and player development methodologies. We expect that this initiative will significantly enhance the developing progress of our young talents, particularly in offering them valuable opportunities for international experience throughout our partnership with Ajax. This delegation of the two clubs will undertake reciprocal visits in the coming months to commence the initial phase of this partnership initiative. And that's all your latest Asian football news.
Thank you, Pearse, and thank you everyone for listening to this episode of the Football Chuggu Podcast. This podcast will be available to listen to on the Football Chuggu YouTube channel and also Football Chuggu website. Thanks for listening and see you soon.
Bye bye.